So I know a lot of people are upset that there was never a Star Wars Battlefront 3. I'm one of them. But I'm starting to get the vibe that that game, or something like it, the Star Wars FPS multiplayer game, the Star Wars Call of Duty, is right around the corner. Alright? Star Wars has been pretty heavy on my mind lately. I'm a big Star Wars nerd, but you probably could have guessed that. But basically, they keep leaking little bits of info about the new movies, right? So today it was that Carrie Fisher is returning in her role as Princess Leia. So that's neat. And people keep complaining that Disney is in charge of the operation. You know, they're worried that it's basically going to be a Disney Channel original movie, some Lizzie McGuire shit. But I have optimism that these movies are going to be dope because so many people are publicly and loudly complaining that they're going to be garbage children's movies that Disney will respond to that. And they'll pull off a good movie because they know exactly what not to do. Because they know what people are worried about, right? But then again, what it comes down to is the age group they target. Like, if they target traditional Star Wars fans who are legally adults at the least at this point, then I think it'll be dope. But if they go after, like, my little brother's generation, you know, fucking 10-year-olds, 360 no-scoping on Call of Duty, then it'll be pretty dumb. And it comes down to who will put up more money, the 10-year-olds or the adults. But regardless of who makes this, regardless of who the movies are targeted to, I am positive that it's going to spark a new era of Star Wars gaming. Now, Star Wars has basically gotten no love on the 360 or the PS3, even though like 1 in every 3 games was Star Wars related back on the original console generation, the original Xbox and PS2. And that's because the movies were still coming out during the lifespan of the previous console generation. Star Wars was still heavily on everyone's mind. And there were some incredible Star Wars games: Knights of the Old Republic, Battlefront, Jedi Starfighter, Jedi Outcast. Every Star Wars game that I played was incredible. Knights of the Old Republic was my favorite game of all time. Now, once the movie stopped, the game stopped. I can't think of one Star Wars game I played on the 360, except for like Lego Star Wars, which I didn't play, but my little brother got it. Alright? However, now that the movies are coming back in 2014... I think the games are coming back as well. Now, obviously, I would kill and die for a Knights of the Old Republic 3, but I don't think that's happening because they did, you know, Tor Online, which has been a colossal failure, I believe, which is obvious by the fact that they, like, a year into the game, it's already free to play. But I guarantee you, I would bet money and blood that there is a Battlefront 3 in pre-development as we speak. Maybe it won't be called Battlefront 3, but anyone with a brain can see that the FPS multiplayer market is the dominant market to sell games in. You combine that with the now hugely popular, you combine that with how hugely popular the original Battlefronts were. You know, I've never met one person who didn't like those games. In fact, anyone I know who did play those games looks back on them with severe nostalgia. Like, those games were a part of people's lives for a time. You know, I was obsessed with those games, and I didn't even have Xbox Live at the time. And the demand for Battlefront 3 has been heavy and consistent now for like 10 years. And they haven't given us one piece of meat to chew on, but if you search around on Google, you'll find all kinds of people begging for a third installment. So it's like, does 2 plus 2 equal 4? Of course there's going to be a Star Wars Battlefront 3. And it would beat Call of Duty. Now, why hasn't there been a Battlefront 3 yet? I believe it comes down to the movies again. There haven't been any new movies, so they don't have any new content they can put in. And Battlefront, in between Battlefront 1 and Battlefront 2, the Revenge of the Sith came out. So on Battlefront 2, they could add all these new maps like Mustafar and the Jedi Temple, along with a new campaign. But after that, it was like, okay, are we going to remake Hoth for a third time? Have people play through basically the same campaign battles for a third time? Shit like that, you know. Now, keep in mind, this is way before Call of Duty. This is before developers realized they could release the same game with different maps and names for things, and people will buy it. And I'm sure if they had realized that back during Battlefront, we'd be on like Star Wars Battlefront 8 by now. And it would be epic, and I would have bought all 8 games and rubbed them on my cock. And I do think it would claim the first-person shooter multiplayer throne, because it had the best of everything. It had Call of Duty simplicity, the learning curve was very flat, if it was even there at all, but it still had the large-scale 12-on-12 epic firefights that make Battlefield so special. And on top of all of that, you know, it had that sensationalist, creative, imagination-stimulating thing that are, you know, simply those features that are simply a part of Star Wars, you know, the futuristic tech. And that's a big part of games' appeal that people don't realize. We like new, imaginary stuff, as unrealistic as it may be. It's sensationalism, and it's a big appeal for Halo, and it's why so many games now take place in the future, because the future fascinates us. You know, it's all this unexplored technology. Now, Battlefront could be the Star Wars Call of Duty. You know, imagine custom classes where you can choose a new species. Like, I want to be the Wookiee class for its extra health. The Zabrak class are the best with tech. I want to be a droid so I can shoot flamethrowers out my ass. You know, shit like that. The highest kill streak in the game is a Jedi Swarm. It's like the Black Ops Swarm, except it's fucking Jedi running around the map, cutting motherfuckers in the face. You know, you hit a certain streak, you get to be a Jedi, just like in Battlefront 2. And just so we're clear, Battlefront was the first game to have custom classes and kill streaks. And you know, you combine that with the new capabilities of the new generation, destructible environments, who knows? But I'm excited. I miss Star Wars games, and I think it's going to be epic. And to be frank, I think everyone's mind is going to be blown by the new generation of gaming that is just right around the corner. This is Batman, signing out.